We have known the Norsemen for a very long time. I've heard tales of their raids in the north my entire life, but reports are coming in more frequently. More and more raids are occurring across all of Nordland. Huge parties of thousands of men, looking for blood and the spoils of war. Some reports even claim that some of the Norse bear marks of chaos. Sigmar save us all if those are true. But we must act regardless. Count Theodoric has requested my aid against the raids in Nordland. This is my chance to prove I am nothing like my father. I will show the people that I am no coward. We will ride north and crush these Norse scum. Hey everybody, welcome to a brand new mini-series about Warhammer. In this series, I'm going to be playing famous battles of the Warhammer lore in anticipation of Total War Warhammer coming out this year. So, for the most part, for the beginning that is, I'm going to be following the story of Karl Franz pretty much. So we're starting off today with his first ever action as Emperor, which was crushing a Norse raiding party in Nordland. So of course these guys are Chaos Warriors. You can see, if I pause it real quick before the action gets too hot, we'll go through what they have. So you can see that pretty much the entire army is going to be Marauders. They have a bunch of, they have 2 units of Chaos Marauder Horsemen. Like 5 units of Marauders, I believe. Let's just look through the army. Marauder Desolators, Berserkers, more Marauders, and the Raider Cavalry. Marauder Desolators. But you can see that maybe they're marching through this pass on their way to, or maybe even on their way back from raiding a village on the coast of Nordland, as they are sea raiders. Nordland is bordering the chaos, the Sea of Chaos, so these guys liked to get in boats, pretty much just like Vikings. Just to make this army a bit more powerful as well, I gave them some Chaos Knights as the general. I mean, why not? The Marauders don't really have that strong of a unit to represent like a war chief or something, so I just went ahead and gave them Chaos Knights. Why not? And of course, there's some bondsmen back here, so they're going to be a tough infantry unit for them. But yeah, you can see that they're marching down this Alpine Pass. Completely can't see the army from Reikland that's right in front of them until it's too late. Basically, they march right into the firing range of the crossbows, handguns, and as you can see, a nicely placed artillery battery consisting of 8 great cannons and 4 mortars, which is excellent. As you can see, they all have their nice Nuln, either a captain or maybe engineer with them, as told by their black outfits. But basically, Karl Franz is here in his Reiksguard unit. Of course, this is when he just became Emperor. He's not the most powerful man in the world, that's for sure. But he has amassed a sizable force to take on these Chaos Marauders. So what we have is 2 units of spears, 2 units of swords, 2 units of halberds, and they're forming up their lines here. Basically on top of this hill. We have 2 units of great swords, 2 units of handgunners, and 2 units of crossbows. And that forms the Reikland army that is helping defend Nordland. Now, in the lore for this battle, well, it's not a specific battle, but in the lore of Karl Franz's actions, of course, most of the Marauders died before they could even get to the front lines, and that gets represented here pretty well. As you can see, the handgunners and crossbows start opening up on these cavalry. They just get absolutely flattened. You can see the bullets and the bolts just flying right through their ranks. They do get a few javelins off, which of course do kill a few men, but this unit is routed before they get anywhere near the line. So instinctively, the Marauders just charge forward with more men. They're just so overcome with rage that they just go on through. Now, of course, because of the limitations of the mod, this is a Warriors of Khorne army. These guys would have just been freelance Chaos Marauders, pretty much. They might have not even had anything to do with Chaos, really. They're just they're just Norsemen, basically. But the way to represent them is with the Chaos units, so that's what we're doing. So please don't mind that. But these guys actually decide to charge into my halberds, and they break pretty much instantly. But we do get to kill a few of them in melee before they run, which is excellent. But you can see now that the main body of the Marauder army is approaching, but not fast enough. Our artillery battery is lighting them up pretty well. We've gotten a few good hits here and there on the blobs. You can see a bunch of them died here, maybe to a cannonball, I believe. But let's just watch for a minute as these batteries actually fire. You can see the cannons all firing. Oh, what an impressive sight. Beautiful. So these Marauder horsemen, they keep coming back. I don't know if you've noticed that, but this unit keeps coming back and then breaking, coming back. But here you can see the Marauder Desolators are finally getting into combat. They're charging uphill towards my spearmen. And of course they do cause quite a bit of damage on the charge, but my spears quickly recover and just push them back pretty much. So both of these units break quite quickly. We now have some axe throwers coming up. Now these guys are really dangerous. Just watch what happens when they start throwing their axes. Once they do, there we go. You can see the axes flying into my ranks. People are dropping. Gaps in the formation are being formed right in time for these Marauders to charge in. How cool is that? But basically the infantry are holding well. The greatswords are still in reserve, waiting for gaps to be made pretty much. The handgunners are reloading, firing as fast as they can to drop these guys. Let's watch a volley here. Beautiful. Of course, against these lightly armored Marauder units, they're just going to get absolutely ripped apart by my skirmishers. But not fast enough. You can see now the Marauders have gone in for a second charge on the spearmen. These Berserkers and Marauders have gotten to my swordsmen. They're actually getting cut down very quickly. You can see defeat seems certain for them. And the main body of the Chaos Army is in the fight now, basically. They're just a few yards away from my men. They're all charging in. We have our Huskarls here, and oh boy. What a sight it is. The Chaos Knights are charging in, but they're getting caught on their own units, kind of, and the terrain itself. I then decided just to charge in my swordsmen. They're not getting much action, so I thought maybe getting some flanks. They're running down the hill, jumping at the Marauders. They're eager to kill these Chaos scum. More Marauders are piling in on this spearman unit. They're pretty good, though. They won't break under the stress of just Marauders. You can see now that Karl himself is now leading his Reiksguard over to the left flank, or the left flank. That is right. Just waiting, basically, waiting for a chance to maybe get some rear charges. You can see the greatswords have been engaged. They are supporting the rear of my infantry formation. Of course, a couple of them are being hit in the face by throwing axes. That's never fun. But yeah, you can see that the Chaos forces have been pretty much boxed in right here. My artillery is going to work on them. All the cannons and mortars are just firing straight down the hill, right into a huge blob of chaos waiting. Karl gets a little overzealous here and charges into some axe throwers, but he gets caught by some Marauders, which isn't good. He decides to lead his men out of there, because that is quite a dangerous situation. He almost gets pincered by these men as well as they come out of that engagement with my spearmen. But they manage to get out with a few casualties, but nothing too major. Now you could probably see that my men are actually dying pretty badly. My swordsmen are down to 22 men. The great swords are already down to 71. These guys are down to 34. You can see that they're doing a number on me, that's for sure. If it wasn't for my artillery, this would be a completely different story right here. But that's how it was. That's how it was in the recorded battle. Many of the Marauders were killed by artillery and missile fire. So you can see some of my greatswords get a little crazy here, charging through the enemy ranks right into the center. So they actually end up getting quite slaughtered by the mix of bondsmen and maybe my own artillery. You know, that kind of helps too. That helped to kill them a little bit. That was a bit of a mistake. Friendly fire happens, though. You can see I've charged Karl Franz and his Reiksguard into these guys. These guys were trying to flank my infantry, so I kind of saved them from that. But you can see that there's just a huge force of Marauder Desolators over on this flank as well that are they're really threatening me. And, of course, Karl's getting charged by them, which is never good, so I decided to pull him out again. But you can see that, that while one flank is getting heavily pushed on, this flank is actually doing pretty good. They've only had to fight some Marauders and the occasional Chaos Knight. You can see the Chaos Knight's bodyguard has actually been pretty much decimated. It's only the Warlord and 4 other men, which is quite nice. But yeah, you can see I'm starting to get Karl ready for some cycle charges. These Marauders are chasing them, which is a bit of a pain, but we charge back down at them, which causes quite a bit of damage for them. I even charge in my greatswords behind them. You can see they start coming in, swinging their greatswords, killing some people. And of course we get a very poor rear charge as it goes over this little bump here. We lose all of our momentum, it seems. A few of them kill, but not really that many. You can see my spearmen have actually broken, and my swords are actually completely dead, which isn't good. This flank has been completely destroyed. Actually, no, the swordsmen are still here with 15 men, rather. But this flank has been overtaken, which isn't good. These greatswords, of course, do a good job holding all these lighter units off, which is great. And you can see now that it's only the enemy warlord and one other man. And what follows is his death. Any second now. He gets shot in the back of the head by either a crossbow or a handgun, which we will see in a moment. There's the volley. There he is. He gets taken down by at least 4 shots from the handgun units. But there we go. That's where the warlord dies. And most of his units begin to rout. So I'm free to move Karl over to take out these Marauder axe throwers, which are still causing quite a bit of damage. But you can see now that basically everybody is routing or wavering, other than these berserkers. They're actually no, they're wavering as well, but they're still fighting to the death. Basically, they're killing as many of my men as they can. And you can see that, yeah, everybody starts breaking. So now we just have to wait for the berserkers. But yeah, they're wavering now, but I end up actually getting all my units around them before they actually break. So they did a very good job, of course, cutting through many of my men. You can see the bloodied carcasses of my men going up the hill as they just pushed right through my halberds, which is quite a feat for such a light unit. Breaking through halberds is definitely not easy for light units, especially in Call of Warhammer. But you can see now that with all of my units charging in, these guys do decide to break. They foolishly give up their attack towards the halberds to kind of chase Karl and his Reiksguard. That just gives me the perfect charge with the greatswords, which ends up breaking them. And there we go, a heroic victory for Karl against the raiding forces of the Norsemen. Nordland is saved. So, yeah, guys, hopefully you enjoyed this nice little new series. I know that says General Zifrid, but sadly I can't actually choose who's commanding in these games. But, whatever. But, yeah, if you guys would like to see any specific battles from Warhammer, I could create my own scenarios as well if you really want to see stuff like that. But if you want to see some specific Warhammer battles, be sure to leave a comment down below. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I know for certain, I'm going to guarantee that I'm going to do all of the major battles that Karl Franz is take parts in as his during his reign as emperor. So that includes the 3rd Battle of Blackfire Pass, the Battle of the Bloodfield, more fights against chaos, stuff like that. So that's guaranteed to be in the series, whether or not you guys, send in comments of specific battles or not. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed, and this has been Overkill as always, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.